Rob Appell, sorry, got so excited, I almost forgot to introduce myself, from Stitchin Heaven and So Well. And I'm here with my good friend, the president and, can I say president? You like president?
Yeah, that's not either one.
President of Island Batik, Caleb Willis. And this is going to be an awesome, awesome time together. We are live. I just want to make sure real quick that I've got all of the feeds. So I'm going to hand Caleb the video. Real quick, we're getting everybody plugged in. So as you're coming in, make sure you say hello. Make sure that we know where you're saying hello from. I am in Carlsbad, California right now. It is beautiful here and awesome. Okay, now I've got the live feed up. This will be perfect. And we are going to get an incredible opportunity here. Caleb, we almost need a wider shot of the operations down here. But what I really wanted to do is just take a little bit of time. Hello, Shirley. So glad you're here. And show all of you, you know, how do I want to say this? We are so blessed to get to work around the creative side of this industry. I'm not sure you all know what it takes to provide the fabrics and the organization and everything that's going on. And if Caleb seems a bit distracted,
sorry about that.
Let me just show you what's really going on here, folks. Can I turn this camera around? Here's our real star of the show today, I believe. Yes, here we go. And this is
Sullivan. And he wants to play ball at all times.
At all times.
This is the worst time that he wants to play.
Right.
So we're going to have to integrate him into the shots a couple times.
Can he play by himself, it looks like?
Oh, yeah, he can.
My dog Winston does the same. This is great. So yes, number one, most important, Caleb, is Caleb's business is pet friendly.
Yes, very pet friendly. I'll introduce you to all the dogs that hang out in the warehouse with us.
Yeah, let's go do that. Can we get a tour of the whole organization before we come back and do some serious shopping?
Absolutely.
Because if you're just tuning in, we are going to do some shopping. I told folks we may or may not put some things today up for sale. So, oh, and Sullivan, you got a what's up, Sully? So anyways, very nice, easy. All right, which way are we going to go, Caleb?
Sounds great. We're going to go this way.
Okay, I'm going to follow you.
Okay. So we're based here in Southern California. We've about a 15,000 square foot warehouse, all full of handmade fabric. So I'm going to show you a little bit. Rob will probably pan around a little bit, but we'll dive more into the actual fabrics and how they're laid out as we go. You'll see some of these orders. These are actual orders that we're pulling right now for Stitchin Heaven. So these orders are about to leave our dock and land on Stitchin Heaven's docks in Texas in, I don't know, 3 or 4 days. So if any of these colors look interesting or appealing, they'll be online here very shortly.
Hit the Stitchin Heaven website. But gosh, Caleb, I know that batik is a little bit different than some of the prints and the timing and stuff, but how long ago could that fabric have been ordered? I mean, the timing is one of the things I don't think folks understand.
That's a great question. The timing around handmade fabric can vary depending on the weather or the issues, shipping constraints aside. It takes about 3 or 4 weeks to make a handmade fabric in Bali, which is where our factories are located. So all of this is pure Indonesian made. None of it is made in China or Pakistan. It's all pure Bali, handed down century to century. And I'll show you some stamps and how the fabric actually processes through the program. We actually have 2 programs in place. We have a seasonal program, a spring and a fall, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And those are custom made to order based on what shops would like to carry. And so we have associated patterns and projects that go along with that. I'll talk a little bit about that as well. And then we have an in-stock program, our foundations program. And those are kind of like a convenience store would never run out of bread or milk. This is the foundation of any good quilt store is solids and neutrals and basics and blenders. Those are the ones that we keep in stock in our shops and our partner stores completely rely on us to ship out the next day. For example, these orders came in yesterday for Stitchin Heaven because they've been burning through this fabric so quickly based on all the projects they have.
Yeah, that's amazing. And keeping batiks in stock is no easy order, especially trying to do it with your basics program. So I was really impressed when you started doing that. And don't let me forget to show everybody at home the quilt I brought. It's one of my old quilts that I brought home. I'm almost embarrassed because it's so soiled for my kids laying on.
So I'll show you. These are orders, packages ready to go out. We have an in-stock program of precuts as well. So you'll probably see that on our website.
Right.
We'll come through here. I'd like to point this section out. This section is our kind of giveaway section. So a lot of times shops will run promos or door prizes. And so we like to work with our shops these are all free giveaways that we like to do with all of our partner shops. And so you'll see these are, some remnants from when we make precuts. all the way to fat quarter packs or color coordinated from our sample packages. So if you're lucky enough to be with some of the partner stores when they do giveaways, this is what you might be able to win. So
Oh, Caleb, you'll be joining us at the December Expo, December
Yes.
1st, 2nd, and 3rd in Quitman, Texas.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we'll have a suitcase full of
Yeah.
specials with you there. If you come out to our
Yeah,
expo,
there may be some there.
there may be some there. And while I'm promoting the expo, right now the tickets are $20 for a day pass, and you receive an in-store credit for $25. So basically, you could get a bundle or something like that. I mean, this is pretty exciting.
Yeah,
for every day pass.
it'll be a lot of fun, and we're excited to support that. We'll be there. Tons of samples, tons of projects, tons of examples of what you can do with the fabric.
Yeah, this is
So
awesome.
let me introduce you to our cutting room.
Right.
So the star of the show is this big table.
Oh, I know. Like, okay, quilters and basters at home. I mean, like, I got to know. I got to see a survey out here. How many of you would love to have a table this big in your home? I mean, this is crazy huge, right? It's what, about 60 by?
Yeah, it's a pretty big, wide and long table.
Yeah.
And we have markings for exact measurements and exact cuttings, and we have a cutting mat to ensure that the blades stay fresh.
Right.
This seems to be the star of the show whenever we show people this area.
Right.
We also have.
We're getting a lot of dudes and drools.
Yeah.
Everybody wants that table.
We also have a sampling area for all of our projects. So this is all sampling fabric from every single collection that we currently carry.
It's so pretty. Just look at it, just like this.
And so the reason we have this is we have a very unique ambassador program.
Right.
That is, there's 25 or 26 ambassadors that are Island Batik ambassadors, and they're constantly building projects, promoting the projects, the fabric, the shops that carry the projects. And every once in a while they'll say, "Oh, can I get another half yard?" So we actually have applications open now to be a 2023 Island Batik ambassador. So if anyone's interested, you can go to our website and check us out on Instagram. That seems to be where everyone's hanging out these days.
Right. Ambassador programs are great, Caleb, too, because that's, I think, and this is my opinion, but it just helps really drive the industry, especially for those of us who really love some of the pattern content for making quilts and how to. It's really neat to see what happens, and I love it.
They've been fantastic. They've been really great stewards of the industry. They will integrate their blogs and their projects into where you guys can buy the fabric. And so a lot of them promote everything associated with Stitchin Heaven.
Right.
So that's been fantastic. The other thing I wanted to show was, and we'll see it a little bit more, but we put together a Island Batik catalog for shops. This is wholesale only, but what this shows, and you can see a copy of this on our website. You'll see all the folks we work with. Here's the ambassadors on Instagram. So it has their website and their pictures and who they are. And then it's got all of our basics and blenders. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. And it's got all the fall collections. So these are the seasonal collections and the pre-cuts that come along with it.
I love your quilt projects, man. They're so good.
Yeah. And so the team has done an exceptional job, and everyone associated with all the different projects that go into each of the collections, Juicy Mosaics has been incredibly well received in the industry.
And that's by Kathy.
That's by Kathy. And Riverwalk, Gene Wells at Stitchin Post put this together.
Right.
So you can see again, these are all downloadable on the website. So if you're interested, you can go to islandbatik.com. Now, the interesting part is, or the best part for me is, I always put my daughters on the back. So you never see how these go. And so Rob and I have been friends for more than a dozen years. And he remembers meeting these girls when they were 5 and 7.
Yeah, the first time I stayed at your house, I mean, they were like, they'd stayed up in their PJs to say hello. I remember it was way past their bedtime.
Way past their bedtime. Yeah. And so now the oldest one's going off to college next year. So time flies by very quickly.
Right. I know. Me too. I've got a senior in high school now and a sophomore in college. Fortunately, my sophomore in college is at the JC, so he's still on the couch. But next year could be big. They both might take off in the same year. I don't know.
Empty nesters, a new concept for us for sure. Right?
Yeah, I'm going to have one room for drawing, one room for quilting, one room for woodworking.
Yeah, there'll be lots of extra rooms.
That's right. I'm already making sure. I'm really concerned that they're leaving.
So come on back. We have some bathrooms that have not been updated since the 80s.
Right. Oh, you've got some neat tile work then, and great.
Some very ugly bathrooms.
Right, great.
So for the folks that are interested in design, and then my office. This is where all the magic happens.
Right.
I say that with a heavy dose of sarcasm.
We got to get some quilts on your wall.
We need a lot more there.
Right. All right. Now, Is any of the team at Quilt Market?
Actually, everyone's headed to Quilt Market right
Is that
now.
where all the quilts just went?
And that's where all the quilts
I figured
went,
as much.
and that's where the team is heading to Quilt Market, and then they're going to leave, and then festival will start. So there's a lot action there. This is kind of the head of the design area, and so
I'm sorry, I got distracted by the other.
Yeah.
Look at this collection of those.
So I laid
wonderful
these out,
kids.
Yeah.
Right.
And so this happens to be the very first shot we ever did with the girls, and so this was at a local diner here,
Right.
and so. The looks they got from the other patrons was very interesting when they were showing off, batik fabric, and so we kind of keep a running catalog of all of them. But I wanted to point out another element here. A lot of things that people ask us all the time: what drives new designs, new projects, new things? And so what we start with is what we call trend boards or trend inspiration. So this is from 2020. We start with a trend illustration. We start with a concept, and then we'll work our projects into that to match that trend board.
And when you say trend, you're looking at the color and the texture. What might
we're looking at a combination of color, texture, what's popular at that day. So whether it's home deck is popular, or whether browns or jewel tones or Crayola colors are really popular.
Right.
So you'll see some of these projects. These are just examples of some of the inspirational pictures that we'll come across, and will help these will help shape the collections and the fabrics and the products that we pull together. And so whether it's a little bit more of a masculine tone with Gatsby, or lemongrass as another example.
Oh, that's got a nice fresh feel to
it.
And
so all these come together. And so people ask us all the time, well, how do you design all this, right? Well, it really starts with the inspiration behind the designers. So I'll show you a couple more here.
And I was going to kind of put you on the spot too. How involved are you physically in the design and the color and all of that? I mean, do you let a team do it? Do you get involved?
So I am beyond blessed to be working with some of the best in the industry. I try to be helpful. They don't really let me do too much anymore. They say they got it. They kick me out. They make me go sit in my office and do other stuff. So I try. They don't really let me do it too much. So I wish I could do more. But they've been fantastic to work with. I work with Kathy Engel. And
I was gonna be my next question, but I didn't want to embarrass Kathy. But is 20 plus years at least in the industry as a batik designer?
Longer than that.
Yeah.
So she's been the steward of the industry for a long, long time, and we're incredibly lucky to be able to work with her. So
I'm going to embarrass everybody then and say, if you own more than 3 pieces of batik fabric, you probably have one of those that was designed by Kathy.
Yeah.
Isn't that a fair statement?
Absolutely. And I think everyone that's been working with her for so long, or especially with us, they can see the texture and the brilliant colors that she comes up with. And so her and her team, Jerry and the rest of the team here at Island Batik are really able to work magic with the fabric. So, well, let me show you. Speaking of that,
how do they make the
fabric
batik?
Gets made. So we'll come into our conference room here.
And unfortunately, we don't get to do any of the dyeing today, right? You already told me, because I came down in my hazmat suit, ready.
A little bit of a fire hazard.
Right.
But so this is our conference room. We do a lot of strategy discussions here. But one thing I like to do is point out exactly how the fabric's made. So if you're interested, you can go to islandbatik.com, and there's actually kind of a 3 or 4 minute video that talks about the exact process, all the way from kind of like a white base cloth. I mean, this is...
I went the wrong way. Sorry, bad camera operator. I was thinking quilts.
White base cloth. I mean, this is really the gray goods that everyone starts with, right?
Oh,
and
is it what we call prepared for dyeing? Is that same term that people hear? PFD? Okay.
Prepared for dyeing. And then these are actual chops.
It's made from copper, right?
All copper made. So everything that we're going to see in the warehouse is going to be handmade by one of these chops. And so these are actually from production. You'll see that they're a little beat up and they're a little worn out because they were used to make this star pattern, right? And this fabric, and you won't be able to see it on camera, but this is actual fabric with the wax residue still on there. So what we'll do is we'll dye the fabric, and then we'll apply a wax onto the fabric, kind of in a reverse image of what we'd like it to see. And then we'll dye it again with wax resistant dye, and that will leave the pattern. And then we'll pull it out, and in the final quality assurance step, we'll scrape all the wax off. And we'll get the wax off 99.9% of the time. But if you ever get a piece of batik fabric with a little bit of wax on there, it's very easy to scrape off with your fingernail, but it shows that it was really handmade, not made by a machine, right?
Okay, and then, this is super exciting for me because I don't think people quite get it yet. The chops, or the piece that's back here, This is the tool. And so Caleb, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't it usually about a 13 to 15 yard piece of fabric?
Correct.
That
Starts with a 15-yard piece of fabric. It gets dyed a base color.
right.
There's a chop.
What is that? Maybe 6 inches by 8 inches
Yes.
or 8 inches by 10 inches?
8 by 10 is about the max size you can go. And what they'll do is they'll have a drum of wax next to it with a flame underneath it. Hot.
This is done in a hot day
in Bali.
in a hot country, in a hot day with a hot stove.
Yeah.
Okay.
Near the equator.
Near the equator.
It gets hot there.
So it's hot.
So they'll dip the wax onto the fabric, and then they'll stamp it. And this is actually where you can actually tell whether it's the craftsmanship that comes along with it. So this is very much a product that's handed down generation to generation. It's a exquisite artist type of production. There's no machines involved. There's no computers. This is handmade, apprenticeship type work that gets handed down, generation to generation. And if they don't stamp it correctly, when you lay the fabric out, you'll be able to see the stamping pattern. That's a poor quality of product. So if you're ever interested in laying some fabric out while you're in your quilt store or at Stitchin Heaven, you ask them to lay it out, and you'll see how consistent the patterns are.
Yeah, you should see the questions, and people are like, "What? You mean it's?" Yeah, folks didn't quite realize when we say it's hand dyed, and that's what I really want to point folks to understand. They're used to a yard of fabric is 36 inches by 44 inches. Yeah. So that stamp is going to hit that piece of fabric maybe 100 times in that section.
Oh yeah.
And they're going to line it up so that we don't see the lines like the mortar in a brick wall.
Yeah.
Because in printing, we have much larger process, especially now with digital printing. And I actually have an old chop as well. And the one I have actually has other designs below it. Like they kept coiling the copper up. It's like full recycling. It's amazing.
Same with this one. You'll see that the design on this will actually dovetail into here. So as they stamp it, and this part will brick lay into here.
I'm just going to go this way so I can see the design better. There you go. Okay, perfect.
And so this section will actually fit within this section. So it's incredibly important, especially on these complicated designs, to get it to line up perfectly.
Right.
And then, because if not, then you're going to get a slight overlap or a slight underlap, and there's going to be extra, space in there. So this adds to the allure and the appeal of handmade fabric.
Yeah, and then the dyes are changing and the colors and it's really neat.
So and then, as you guys know, you can make everything from quilts to little skirts that the girls wore in one of our photo shoots, right? And so it's amazing to be involved in this industry. Has been kind of a blessing for all of us to be part of it. So, well, here, let's go. We'll continue the tour.
All right, I'm turning it around because I need a little camera time. I was getting a little jealous here. You're getting all the camera time and the thumbs. Oh, don't trip over the dog. Right, he's down here as well. Awesome. Okay, so now we're in the main headquarters portion of the office, and I want to show you where you have more than one pooch. This is great.
Yeah. And so you'll see our operations center folks are talking. The team here is talking to customers and handling calls right now.
The dogs are barking.
And then we'll also introduce you to Mercy.
Hey, Mercy.
And Mercy is another warehouse dog that's been in the equation for a while. You may have seen her online or on a website or on an Instagram account. She's been another great addition to the team. So she and Sullivan are about 10 years apart in age, and I know.
Mercy's nice and loud. Now Mercy's not getting shipped away in the box somewhere, is she? You're not sending Mercy out to Stitchin Heaven.
She's in.
We have a Jack out there.
She's in timeout. Yeah,
she's in timeout. Fabric timeout.
Yeah.
So, awesome.
And then what we'll do is we'll bring you back. We'll quiet the dog down.
Okay. Now we're in the back area of the warehouse again.
So now we're back in the warehouse. So as I'll walk you through this, I know you guys have all seen warehouses, but we are incredibly anal about how we organize everything. So it makes operations and fulfilling everything for Stitchin Heaven much, much easier when they call to ask for something. So there are two elements of the warehouse. There's this area is our seasonal collection, so fall, winter, spring, summer. We'll rotate that around. You'll see these are, specific with certain designs, certain products. This is a kind of a cocktail influenced product. You can see that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yep.
In there. Maybe here's some ice cubes that go with it, right? So our designers have a lot of fun with it.
One of our viewers just says she knows this looks like somebody's stash at home.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
She's like, warehouse nothing. This reminds me of a stash.
And then on this side, I mentioned the foundations program earlier. This is, our basics, blenders, solids, and neutrals. These are, we never run out of these fabrics because this is the foundation of any good quilter stash is really primarily made up of these.
Right.
So,
But I'm going to put you on the spot again, buddy.
oh yeah.
Because this is seasonal. This is a big investment on your part, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big investment.
That's how you have to do it, right?
And that's, I think a lot of folks rely on us to always have, more white, more black, more navy, more storm, more, sprinkles.
Even when you can't make it, you've got it. I
Yeah,
get it. It just dawned on me what you're doing here is you're buying a lot when you can get it so that you have it when you can't.
And it's when folks rely on something to be that's seasonal and they want to finish a quilt and maybe the dye lot's changed or they've run out and they need to fill in with other elements. This is what this is for.
Yeah. Well, we use a lot of Island Batik in our Stitchin Heaven kits, especially like the laser cut kits. We just, maybe I shouldn't be saying it because I was filming the tutorial. It hasn't launched yet. But we actually have a really awesome wedding rings quilt coming out. That's just beautiful.
We've been working on that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. So that's this area here, and then the other part of the business, which is a good segue into what we're about to do, is all of our precuts.
Right.
So we have, for all the collections in the project, in the catalog that we do every season, we have corresponding precuts. And excuse the boxes that we use for storage.
Makes it easy though.
But you'll see every 2.5-inch strip packs. This is the Tranquility pack. Or 1-inch square. You'll see how we kind of fold them on the diagonal.
Yeah, it's really pretty presentation that way.
Yeah,
you see everything.
Very specific to Island Batik. And so these are constantly in stock for our partner shops. Stitchin Heaven is constantly working with us to get them in for all of the quilters that are going to be showing up to the December 4th event or some other land cruise or sea cruise.
Right.
Stitchin Heaven's been very unique and interesting on how they've come up with all these different marketing programs. So we love supporting them. They've been a fantastic partner of ours for a long time.
Yeah, and being able to use the precuts, especially like on the travel events that we do, is really nice. So folks don't have to worry about getting their fabrics just right. We build kits accordingly. And I think it's probably time that we tell everybody what we're going to do now, right? Is that okay if we do it? Okay, so here we go, folks. I promised all of you we would do a little bit of shopping today. And I drove down, got up this morning about 5 in the morning, had a beautiful drive, got to watch the sunrise over the ocean, all of that. We've got the pickup down here, but I think we're going to make it even easier. We are going to put some of these, just a select few, Caleb and I are going to go through here and pick out some of the strips and some of the stacks for all of you. There is a link already in the description below. There's a code. So they're slightly discounted. They're $38 through the 31st or while supplies last. Now, the cool thing is, folks, is that our shipping over $99 is free. So 3 packs will get you there.
Oh, yeah.
And better than that, they're going to ship out of the warehouse here to save time. We thought this would be really fun. So Caleb's actually asked his team if they would fulfill your orders. And so that's partly why we have a limited time, but we really have a limited quantity. So right now the shopping is open. They are discounted. There is a link and we're going to go through here. We're going to fill up our carts and show you all and talk about what we've got going today. So stick with us. This is going to be great fun. I am going to take a second real quick. I'm going to wander over to the iPad. We've got a shopping cart already ready here for us. And I want to see if I've missed any major questions, okay? So we're just going to be silly here and go through real quick and see if we've missed any questions that we need to answer before we go shopping like crazy.
Where should we start?
Let's see. Yep, 2 weeks after basic training, there was a bedroom converted into a sewing room. I saw that one come through. Okay, well, let's go have some fun. I think these folks are pretty excited. Caleb, they said that's a sweet deal on the price. Maybe, should we raise the price? If you want us to raise the price, we can raise that. Give us a bunch of, no, I don't want to say give us a bunch of thumbs up. We'll never get any thumbs ups on the video. So at any rate, okay.
Let's ask Sullivan where we think we should start.
Sullivan, where are we going to start? Hang on. Where's Sullivan? Here we go. So we got all of these precuts to shop for, Sullivan. What do you think? Where are we going to go first?
Okay, we'll follow your lead.
Okay, Sullivan, let's go. We're going shopping now. Yeah. I've got the cart.
So let's start over here. We'll start along the this area.
We need something fresh. Let's start with something fresh.
Okay. Let's start with.
What do you got?
How about bits and pieces?
Ooh. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Both in a strip and a stack.
Oh, yeah. That's
you'll
beautiful.
see the printing pattern, as I mentioned earlier, but it's got a nice broad range of colors and really fresh, really open to a lot of different projects.
This is great. I'm seeing some brick texture. I'm seeing some really fun little small polka dot, some kind of larger like a cobblestone texture. Oh, that's going to be a great one.
I think the texture and the depth here might work. So let's
throw that on the cart for sure. And can we do this one?
Let's see, woodcut. Yeah, let's do that. That's another good one.
That's pretty.
Nice floral print.
Look at that one.
And hopefully you can see that through the plastic.
Okay.
You'll see some dark purples on both sides, of dark blues, and then a nice neutral.
Fantastic.
There.
Do you have strips that go with this one, or we just have stacks?
I believe we do.
Let's
grab one of those.
Excellent. Okay, looking good.
Right.
We had a request. Wait, I'm doing the shopping here. This is my shopping. I'm not looking at your request here. Yeah. Look at all of this stuff. Let's see.
What do you want Stitchin Heaven to carry, guys? Let's ask them.
You can throw in your request. Oh, you know what though? I think I just saw somebody that said something with some reds and blues and stuff. Is that red, white, and blue over there?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do Heart. I think I saw Heartland on the box.
Let's do Heartland. So we'll do Heartland.
Let's see that.
Oh yeah, I think this is a good red, white, and blue one, right? A little different.
Oh yeah, fun. Little bit of checker print.
Yeah, a little bit of checker print, a little bit of Americana feel, but I think this hits the nail on the head for the red, white, and blue, especially the neutrals on this one.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good one. Thank you, Caleb. I appreciate that.
Let's do that.
Okay, I'll put this on the cart. Okay,
let's do it.
So that's there. Boom, automatically in the description below. Awesome there. We heard, let's see, Carl, my friend who's always joining us, said brights. Well, I'm sure we'll pick some brights.
Yeah, we'll get some brights.
Let me go back to my comments and see. I saw.
How about some purples?
Purples, I think I saw. Tropical, I saw.
Oh, tropical. Okay, we'll get that.
Anything pretty? It's all pretty, folks.
Yeah. Let's do. How about? Nightshade.
Ooh, that's rich.
So I think this one is a nice range of colors from the deep reds to all the way to the dark blues with a little bit of the neutrals there, some pinks.
Yeah.
So I think let's do that.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll get some pre-cut.
You got some strips for that one. So these are stacks and they're 10-inch squares, and then the strips are 2.5-inch strips. What is the count? Oh, I can see. There's 40 pieces.
40 pieces, 20
designs.
So 2 of each.
And is that the same in the stacks, Caleb?
Same in the stacks.
Awesome. This is great. Look at those, guys. Wow.
And I want to, we'll change it up a little bit.
Susie wants them. Susie, you already have a bolt of everything coming. She was the one who wanted a bolt of everything. Oh,
let's do a little moonlight hollow.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think these are,
look at that,
a little bit more darker colors, almost very appropriate for
spider web. Yeah,
very Halloweenish.
It's a spider web. I can't promise it'll arrive before Halloween this year, but I can promise it'll arrive before Halloween next year.
Absolutely.
That's right. Definitely next year.
This feels pretty good for especially given the time of year
right.
We are, right?
Right. Oh, that's rad. I love that.
So that's a good one. I like that.
Look at those little moons and those dots and everything.
The stars and the
stars.
Yep.
This is a really great one. I don't know that these are going to get it all the way home. Now, I think that these might end up just in my pickup.
Let's see. What else do we have?
Caleb, I might be in trouble. My boss is watching. Anita just said hello. She's in charge of promoting fabric at Stitchin Heaven on Tuesdays with a cup of coffee in her hand.
Yeah.
How am I doing, Anita?
Here's another one. I think they wanted something fresh and bright.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah. It's almost like a primary pack, but it's got a nice variety.
Yeah,
I could
and kind of a real nature-inspired print here, and you'll see some dots and what we call Cheerios, the little circles there, spread across the range of the color palette.
Joseph's robe. Somebody just says reminders of Joseph or him. I don't know who said it. Joseph's robe. That's fantastic. Look, and here's our strips.
And you can see it. You can see the same colors are represented, but you can see the reds and oranges, a little bit here. It's a little bit more stronger on the blue, just based on the way it's folded.
Perfect. Oh, and you know what, folks? I'm going to say the name. Sorry to interrupt you, Caleb. This is Chickadee because I believe we already have that set on the landing page. And I'll go back and show them the names of the other ones real quick.
Absolutely.
While you find us something else, if you could, please.
I will.
That's awesome. Okay, so the one that I really like, it was called Moonlight Hollow. So that was that Halloween kind of feel. Yeah, that'll make it easy for them to find the names. And then we had Nightshade, which was those beautiful purples and the reds, but they had the neutral in there. Okay. The red, white, and blue pack was called Heartland. There's, yep. Caleb, you're getting some folks that say that your Island Batiks are their favorite. Your fabrics really are incredible. I've been using them for years. Don't let me forget to shop my quilt. This was Bits and Pieces. I think that was the first one. The beautiful, fresh pinks and greens and stuff there. Okay, so I think I've given them all the names now.
All right, well, we'll keep shopping.
Okay, let's go shopping.
Let's keep going.
This is great.
And I got a couple more over here that I think you guys might like.
Oh, yeah. You set out a few for us?
I set a few out that I thought would be interesting. So black and whites are always really interesting. And I think you can do, there's a whole lot of variety that you can pull these together with. You can combine it with another pack, or you can build something just with these colors. Again, very seasonally appropriate, but these will be, able to ship out immediately.
That's great
for anyone here. So I think, and this one's graphics.
Okay, that one's called graphics. It's black and white with, there's a little bit of gray in there, but it's mostly black and white reading. Yeah, that's awesome.
So I coupled with that, I think we had one red, white, and blue, but I wanted to get something a little bit more traditional Americana blue.
So that's the Americana, and then this one here was the Heartland. So a little bit more dusty, a little bit more deep. I don't know if I've got the right term, more traditional.
Yep. And this is a little bit more of the traditional, pure,
real clean
red, white, and blue, what you associate with the
Now,
US.
Some of these remind me of the ones that were originally done for the Quilted in Honor program.
Oh yeah, very similar. Maybe talk about that a little bit while I pull some more out.
I will, because let me turn the camera around, because I need my camera time here, especially because I showered today. So yeah, Quilted in Honor program is where Caleb and I kind of got to really spend a lot of time together. Right when he took over Island Batik, it was 2011, right? And so anyways, he partnered with Operation Homefront to do a fundraiser that we could bring together. Caleb's idea was bring together a bunch of designers and authors and creators, and he provided the batiks, 44 different batiks, if I remember.
44, two different programs, kind of a red, white, and blue, and then a kind of a camo themed element, and a percentage of the profits, 10% of the profits, went to Operation Homefront, which helped integrate returning servicemen and women back into the community. So I think everyone on here knows some of the trials and tribulations that come along with that. And so that organization really put a lot of emphasis behind reintegration for returning servicemen and women. It's a fantastic organization, fantastic projects that we came up with. And I think the star of that show was Rob's quilt. That was a reimagining of Iwo Jima Memorial with the four Marines raising the flag, and that one got auctioned off for
almost
a lot of money.
Almost, yeah. Okay, so here's the story behind that, and some of you might know the end of the story before you know the beginning. We put it up. We gave it to Operation Homefront to go to auction, but we didn't know how to auction it. And then about a year and a half later, I felt challenged to get it back. But it was already put through the tax program and all of that. So there was a $25,000 price tag on the quilt, because I put that price tag on it. So I traveled with that quilt for about 15 months doing lectures and trunk shows. And at the end of every lecture, I did a call to action and asked for donations. And we actually bought the quilt back. Well, when I was hired by, here's my shirt, right? Stitchin Heaven, because it's such a big shop. That was one of the things I asked Deb. I said, because I own the quilt. I don't know if you know.
Oh, yeah.
So I said, Deb, the quilt's so big, it needs to be seen. Can we please hang the quilt somewhere at the new building? It's so, all of these folks. So then that led to, this is the part you may not know, but on November 11th, so we're right now doing a call for action. If you have quilts to donate to our veterans in Quitman, at the courthouse on the steps at 11/11 on 11/11, we're going to drape servicemen and women and first responders with quilts, and the Quilting Marine and the combat quilter are joining me, and we're going to hopefully take a bunch of veterans and first responders, give them lunch, and have sewing machines set up so they can try, and hopefully we can start to encourage people, because my big message is working with our hands heals our soul, and we think that this is something very important for folks that are working through their PTSD and all of that. So pretty excited, and I get to hang out with combat quilter and quilting marine for the first time.
That's very exciting. I did not know that.
Yeah, that's just coming together.
But I will tell the viewers right now that for those of you who weren't there, it's probably everyone here, when Rob unveiled his quilt, and he had been working on it for a number of months, and he would not even let me see it. He unveiled it, and you probably remember this. It was at a trade show, and he stood up, put the quilt up, had it covered, and there was probably maybe 150, 175 people there as part of Operation Homefront, as part of the announcement. And when he unveiled it, standing ovation, tears, it was very, very impactful. So for those of you who have not seen it, I encourage you to go to Rob's site or website to check out it's stunningly beautiful, and it was really, really well done. So
Thank you for
yeah,
saying
no,
that.
it was fantastic.
And it's still, we put it up again as a marker to call for donations for our local chapter there in Wood County.
Yeah.
For so it's raising money still for our veterans.
Yeah, no, it's great.
This is what we can do as quilters, folks.
Yeah,
So all you
okay.
need is some batiks, some
Yeah.
red, white, and blue
Yeah,
batiks,
exactly.
and you can.
Yeah, we can do that as much as we
you can do
right?
that all day long.
Yeah. So I laid some others out. So Chantilly
Look
is
at this.
another really fresh pack.
Ooh, that is really pretty. I love that raspberry color.
Yeah, the raspberry at the top, you know, the rusty color red, the raspberry, the light blues, the combination of the purples, the multicolors, what we call multis, you know, they all really play nicely together in this one. So I want to offer this one to the viewers.
Yes, please. Thank you. We're getting quite a stack. Look at this. This is great.
Yeah. And I want to, let's come over here because I just saw this one and I want to see if
Alexandria loves that one. Hey, how do you put your, do you just kind of go off a color? Are you going off of the texture? Does it
I think it's
vary?
a combination.
Okay, I
think
was wondering.
the trend boards that we had showing earlier will really help drive what we see things going.
That makes sense.
And so this one is Exuberance.
This might be my second favorite.
This one is really unique. Really a lot of movement in each of the fabric pieces. You can see it a little bit differently in here.
Yeah.
You'll see the bubbles, but you'll see the contrast, the high contrast colors with some of the you know, the oranges and blues and the reds and light blues, Turks go together. So these, I think these would be another solid addition to the team. What do you think?
I think so. Absolutely.
All right, let's do it.
Is it harder to dye the fabrics that have higher contrast? Does the color on color, does any of that matter? How does that work?
I think
Special delivery. Gotta chase him out. Caleb's gonna go make sure. You make sure the orders go out today. I'll answer a few of these questions here. So for those, I just saw one of the questions. Where do you buy? In the link below. Sorry, the dog was chasing.
I know you're very
They just don't care for those postal workers. Hey, yeah, so in the link below, we've got a landing page already set up. They're $38, whether it's a stack or a strip. It's a special price. It is only through the 31st or while supplies last. So while we're going through here, we're not getting too many of each. Even though there are boxes full, it's not fair for us to take them all. So we're just going to get a couple of each of these. We have the quantities already set. So if you don't see them any longer on the landing page in that link below, that could mean they've already sold out. So as we go through, because Caleb and the team worked on helping get some of these kind of figured so that we could have you all ready. So that there is a landing page. The link is in the description below. Please use that to get your special pricing. And like I said, it will be open until the 31st or while supplies last. Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, yeah. Good. I love to see the real dog. Real dogs do not like postal workers.
They don't like FedEx drivers, apparently.
Here's what's that?
Hope and Heart is another charitable endeavor we put together. You know, obviously, cancer awareness is really important to us. It's affected everyone in our community. So we put together this program with these colors to make these projects. Hope and Heart is something that I think is really interesting. The quilts that can be made out of this and given away to loved ones has been very, very impactful. So I wanted to share these with the viewers as well. Yeah, those are awesome. Thank you. Neat. Yeah. So we'll do that. Let's see. What else can we? Any questions on that from the viewers? Not yet. All right. Good. They just said they're beautiful. Yeah, lots of gorgeous fabrics. I answered the where can we buy. Great. Yep. Great. Let's see. What else? What else do I think the team like? Oh, you know what? What have we got in these greens back here? Because green is my favorite color. And I think it's supposed to be like the color of the year. So you know what do we got here? Is that's a great one. This one's called Fruit and Veggies. Oh yeah, can we do that one? Yeah, let's do that one. That's a good. I think this is a really interesting color combination. A lot of movements on the greens, and I think the depth of the blues is really strong. And it's just got a really nice fresh feel. Mm-hmm. And you'll see that some of the fabrics there are, you know, quasi, you know, maybe those are pea pods. The nice part about batiks is you can envision them to be a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. Right? They're not so novelty that they could be anything. We got in trouble. Carl saw my skateboard. Oh yeah.
He said, "There's a skateboard, Rob. Get on it, Carl. That is my skateboard because you don't think I would come to a fabric warehouse and not bring a skateboard, right?"
Yeah, exactly.
So yes, at the end we will try to get on the skateboard and
we
ride
will.
around. See how we do. Break my neck before the
Yeah, I'll
next.
have to update the workers' comp.
Yeah.
Sure.
Now, and also the other question was, it might have even been a comment, but it is definitely agreeable to me that these would be the strip packs specifically are great for like the quilted jacket craze that's going on right now.
Oh yeah.
And we did just do a quilted jacket tutorial, and in that they actually had done squares, but you could do the strip system, strip piecing, and come together. And you see how beautifully coordinated these are. You could see.
And so this is another fresh one that I thought would be interesting.
What's the name of this
So
one?
this one's
Juicy Mosaics.
Mosaics. So you'll see on the strip packs, you'll see kind of the brick pattern there, but you'll see here on the stack, you'll see some of the you'll see some of the mosaic patterns that we have throughout here, and you'll see some of the high contrast, orange and purples together, and then more brick pattern there. And so you'll see some kind of organic movement here on this. So I think this is another fresh one that I think we should offer.
Yeah, we got a Juicy Mosaics. Are beautiful. Okay, I'm putting it on the cart for you, Doreen.
Let's show the cart. Let's show them the cart.
Cart's getting full. We've got a bunch of nice choices for you here. More than one of each, but not much more than one of each for you. We're just getting a couple each.
What else? Let's see what else.
Yeah, they're loving that Juicy Mosaics.
How about, here's another positively pink one. So it's associated, kind of similar to the Hope and Heart one we pulled together. Really strong reds, really strong pinks, really nice light neutrals. So I think this one kind of comes together.
Yeah, that'll coordinate in there nicely with those other ones.
Let's do that one.
Right. Oh, and you know what? I was wondering because look, I think we had the squares there, good. So it definitely coordinates. There's those three.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
That's perfect. Let's see.
Still more love. You're getting all kinds of love on that Juicy Juice.
Oh, and then here's the here's the associated Hope and Heart.
Okay, so we can put this in there?
Yeah, and this one has the words Hope and Heart, which I think go together well with the message.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Is it hard? Well, so are these done with the chops too?
Oh, yeah.
The words are done?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Do they have to be done backwards?
Yeah, they do have to be done backwards, so it'll be a reverse image of it.
I got it right. That's cool. I got it right. Wow, I hadn't thought that. There's a lot. See, I'm so glad we get to do this. There's so much that goes into it.
There's a lot to be done.
Yeah, right. And folks thought they had the hard job of going into their local quilt shop and just buying a yard of everything.
Yeah.
No, you got to coordinate it, sort it. Caleb's the one that has to say no, right? He has to make sure none of the bad stuff gets into the marketplace. So you guys only have good stuff.
Exactly.
That's another one.
I think another kind of mosaic one. This is called Broken Glass.
Yeah.
And I think this concept, again, similar, layout, similar patterns, similar products. I think the color scheme here works really well, really lays out nicely. And I think a lot of projects would look good with this kind of color palette.
Yeah, and you know what I'm thinking too? There's part of what I felt, I don't want to use the word blessed, but kind of blessed about what happened through COVID. There's a lot of folks that learned to quilt or are learning to quilt right now. So they're turning to us on the YouTube, internet, all that kind of stuff. And so things like these packets, folks, you can make a quilt out of just one of these. It's not going to be the biggest quilt, right? But you could definitely make a good size quilt out of 2 of the strips or 2 of the stacks. You could use them together, but you could also just give like a stack and a strip pack to a friend as a Christmas gift, and then do like a coupon that says, this entitles you to 4 hours of quilting lessons, and so maybe you take them to lunch and then you do a quilting lesson. And it's Deb. Caleb, do you want to say hi to Deb? She's watching.
Hi, Deb. How you doing? We'll talk soon.
Now we got to be serious. Deb,
we should do some real work then.
Deb, don't mind the invoice. I'm doing a little shopping here, so we're just loading up. If anyone's just tuned in, the boss just logged on, and she didn't know I was here shopping today. So I love you, Deb. Don't get too mad at us. We're just getting you a little bit of fabric for the shop. I'll
go light on the pencil on the invoice.
That's right. No problem. Yeah, Caleb got a new pencil, so we can erase the zeros on the back end of the invoice here.
And we pulled these together for all the folks at Stitchin Heaven. Another order that I think we should send to them to make sure that they have everything in stock that they need.
I think it'd be easier just to pull one of everything.
I think so. I think that's fair. I want to show them your quilt too.
Oh yeah, show.
Let's do that.
Now, I got to apologize, folks. This quilt is dingy because this quilt has been loved and used. This is a quilt that I actually had made to share on man sewing right before I learned man sewing was ending. But this is the batiks, and this is right when Caleb started doing solid, and you couldn't find a solid white. So that's actually solid white. Oh, Deb said, buy all we want. This is awesome. Thanks, Deb. And then the blues are some textured blues, but there is a gray and a black and a white. And so maybe I'll have to go back and make this quilt as a quilt for everybody. But my son absolutely loves it. Caleb would be back there for hours counting the pizza stains on the back because he literally sits under it every day.
Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah, maybe we shouldn't show all the pizza stains.
Yeah, don't show all the pizza stains. But it is definitely a loved quilt. It's actually one of the only quilts I've ever put in the washer and dryer as well. And
Rob's being kind. It's actually very well kept. I've seen quilts in much worse space.
Well, but it is a couch quilt, you know, like, and we have a dog that's allowed on it and all that stuff. Somebody was asking earlier about sewing with batiks. I didn't realize, but a lot of my early sewing early on was with batiks because I was so just in love with that look. And so when I was buying them and doing quilts and things out of them, they sew wonderfully. As a matter of fact, folks, I'm going to show real quick here. I brought down with me, I've got that Super 60 retreat coming up. And I've got some new classes and some new templates and things. So I'm working on some new patterns. And in these patterns, there are some very small, let me turn the camera around, there's some circles. And so we're going to use batiks specifically because the circle really the batik really helps stabilize the fabric when sewing around in the circles and stuff. So that's something else that we're going to do a little bit. Oh, yeah, this is funny. This was at the quilt show a couple of weeks ago. This was one of the other quilts I made out of Island Batik that we were talking about. The other one's not in here, but these were the quilts that I sent to the quilt show a few weeks ago. So this was just the document. So,
no, I mean, all these I remember, and they've all been fabulously done. Really exquisite work, incredibly well done and well thought out and well planned and well executed. It's been really, really fun to work with you on all this. I do want you to show the Iwo Jima. What'd you call it? What was the name of that again?
It was called "And the Flag Is Still There."
The Flag Is Still There. Yeah, it was a really impressive one.
And it's actually part of our banner right now at stitchinheaven.com too, and you can see that because it's in the donate section because they're using that for.
Maybe talk a little bit about the hand of the batik while you're sewing.
Yeah.
You know, what your experience has been, what you like about it, how it compares to other, kind of traditionally dyed fabrics.
Great idea. So it's stable, and the easiest way, if let's say somebody that's new to quilting or even isn't necessarily new to quilting, you're doing triangles and there's a lot of stretch, because of the bias. You've cut everything already and everything's cut along the bias. When you're dealing with a batik, that prepared for dyeing cloth has a more dense thread count, correct? I've always been told that, but I want to hear it from the boss. And then with a little bit of those resists and the wax and the dyes and it's out in the air and it just has a bit more of a stiff feel when you're first working and handling, cutting and sewing. But as it's quilted, you can see it's soft as a dream. So it doesn't feel rough, but if you're stitching on the bias, if you're stitching around curves, it offers a bit of stability for patchwork that is unlike any other fabric. Then let's talk about where I got my start in quilting, which is applique. And so the circle quilt I was showing right now is piece, but applique, I do fusible raw edge applique. And a lot of times, see, someone else just said, Carol's just said, she loves her batiks for machine applique as well, because we'll often put a glue on the back and we cut it out and we machine stitch around it. But I don't machine stitch with a satin stitch. I just do free motion quilting. So over time, if you're not using a batik, that's going to unravel and become very frayed along the edge and kind of unsightly, worse than pizza stains, really. Wouldn't you say? 100%. So at any rate, that's one of the things that working with batiks really offers us. It gives us a really beautiful stained glass effect when you're dealing with the coloring and the modeling. You don't have to worry about precision because it's an organic looking fiber, an organic looking print. So even if it was a stripe, it's not going to be perfect. So it takes a lot of the pressure away from me, I feel.
And I think what you've told me in the past and other people have shared with me is just working around the machine. It just seems to be easier rather than working with fabrics that kind of feel like saran wrap where it kind of gets all bound up on you and it's really hard to manage and maintain. Whereas batiks, the stiffer hand equates to a kind of an easier project to do.
It's like the simplest thing. I could go on for hours, but maybe some of you have had the corner of right when you're starting get sucked down in the stitch plate. That's not going to happen with batiks as much. Now, I do like to use a Microtex or a Sharps style needle. If you took Rhonda's needle class, you know a lot about that. But because of the density, that Sharps has that extra fine point in that tip, or a quilting needle, they're going to penetrate really, really nice and quickly, whether it's for patchwork or garment work, or if you're doing machine quilting. Folks, I have quilted through probably 5 layers of glued batik batting and then another layer of batik on the back.
Yeah, and it works well.
It's beautifully done. But sometimes having the right needle, sometimes having a right thread choice and whatnot. But yeah, there is just so much opportunity that is different. I almost wore down, and I still have them. I kicked myself. Caleb gave me a pair of patchwork rayon batik pants, and I felt like I should show up in them today, but I forgot to put them on as I was leaving. But even the feel, because it's just when you add the rayon in there, you get that cool feel to it. It's got a fluidity, the drape, the hand. It's just really wonderful to be working with it. So
that's fantastic. Let's open it up to questions. Is there anything that folks are interested in asking while we're both here?
There was a question that went by that we didn't see while I was talking, because I'm always talking, but do we pre-wash our batiks?
Yeah, the instructions are on the fabrics, but yeah, there's a couple, and on our website too, about how best to pre-wash the batiks. They're color fast. They're stayed, dried out in the volley sun, so they're relatively stable as they are. But we always recommend a kind of a light pre-wash before that. But that's a great question. It comes up a lot. We answer those emails probably twice a week.
I'm sure
people are always interested.
I should know this answer, but I really, really don't, especially with digital printing nowadays. Do you have a read? Is digital printing, is wet printing, is batik printing, are any one of the three less stable than the others? Do you know? I've heard a lot of concerns about digital. I've heard a lot of concerns about batik, but I've actually never seen in my personal work these same concerns.
Yeah, I think it depends on. Batik is so well known; it's been handed down century over century, so that's relatively stable. I think the dyed printing or the digital printing, I think that's a little bit newer. You can get a little bit more precise. It really depends on the quality of the printing, the base cloth that they're using, the color fastness of the colors that they're using. So a little bit of a it depends answer, but I think from our standpoint, batik is a little bit more basic and a little bit more stable. That's why we kind of recommend that.
Yeah. And so there was a question that just came through that should they pre-wash their pre-cuts? That can get a little dicey.
Yeah, I think if you do it, we recommend machine wash cold and hand dry, or lay it out to dry. No washing, no high heat dryer, no really kind of agitating in the washing machine too aggressively. I think that's going to wear it out, and then it'll start to fray on the edges, especially on those 2.5-inch strips.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say. Is part of what your advantage is in a pre-cut is that they're pre-cut for you.
Yeah.
So some of the things you can do, let's just talk it through as quilters a little bit. If I was using the black and the whites, and I was trying to use the full 10-inch square or the full 2.5-inch strip, I would sew them together, and I would probably use one of the chemicals like a retain or a Synthropol. At the moment, I'm drawing a blank. I believe it is Synthropol you want to pre-wash. No, retain you would pre-wash in, and Synthropol you'd wash the whole quilt into hold. So something like that I think is a better, because you're not going to unravel the edges. But if I just bought one of those 10-inch strip or those stacks, right, because I wanted to use it for applique pieces and everything, and I wasn't needing all 10 inches, then I would do what Caleb said. I would pre-wash, and I would just lay it out like on an old beach towel to dry.
Yeah, to dry, and then air dry, I guess, light, cool iron, right?
Because part of what you're going to lose if you wash is the pre-cutting, the pre-shaping, and all of that stuff. So with batiks, you can always add a chemical stabilizer to the whole quilt. But part of it is what I was trying to add in there was the amount of contrast. So if I was using purple and blue kind of in a monochrome quilt, I really wouldn't sweat it. That's why I chose black and white as my example.
Yeah, no, that's a good. And retain and Synthropol both are not interchangeable, but they both work, seamlessly. Our product.
Yeah, they're great with it. But one is before and one is after. So, okay, folks, get some more of your questions. I'm going to scroll through here, I think, and see if I can find any more questions we should be answering. And you all are hopefully shopping like crazy.
While you're looking, I'm going to ask them the question.
Okay.
What do you, if you guys had to rank the color palettes that you guys are most attracted to? Would they be jewel tones, earth tones, or what I call a Crayola pack? Kind of a sunshine. The whole color gamut there. Is there one that is the leading candidate for you guys? I realize this is kind of like asking to rank Halloween candy. It's a personal preference, but I'm curious as to what people say.
So what were our 3 choices of color tones? Earth tones is one choice.
Earth tones, jewel tones, and then what I call a Crayola pack. Kind of the entire
Kind of
range.
a primary.
Yeah, primary. Let me see if I can get an example.
Okay, Caleb's going to get a couple examples so we can do our survey here. I'm seeing more and more jewel tones coming through.
Okay, yeah, that's
jewel. Either jewel is easier and faster to type, or it is the leading answer so far.
That's good.
Crayola, we got
Crayola,
one for
yeah.
Crayola, another Crayola pack. I was going to call something like this almost a Crayola. No,
here's what
that's a Crayola.
Here's what I would consider as a Crayola.
Let me turn this around. That's the Crayola. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So, just out of curiosity, as we develop more and more projects and colorations, right?
Right.
So far, jewel tone is the leading candidate.
Yeah, jewel tone was either easier to type or was by far the leading one for sure.
Okay. What's interesting is I know this is a very scientific method, but the feedback is really helpful.
It really is, right? Yeah, and partly though because you're trying. Is it about a 2-year lead time you're designing out?
A little bit, maybe 14 months, 15 months.
Right, and so trends are different, in garment, are different in home decor, are different in quilting, and so there's a long lead time, and so sometimes what we see as a trend today, by the time we develop our portion of that trend, the trend is phasing out. I actually heard a cool talk on that just today as I was driving down. So, jewel for grown-ups, Crayola for kids quilts. There we go. Or good. All of them.
Yeah, that's great.
That's awesome.
Good.
Okay. Any other questions for Caleb and I? Get your questions in for Caleb and I here. Going to give you another nice shot of the warehouse as I'm turning the camera around. And then
I want to see you skateboard.
You want to see me try the skateboard?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to hand you the camera then in a second. All right, folks, I think we're going to sign off. We've almost kept you entertained for an hour. I'm going to turn this around and embarrass myself. And we're going to run out of juice pretty soon. So we'll go till the battery almost dies. This one's for you, Carl. So I brought the skateboard that doesn't require being pushed. Okay? So if this skateboard, it's to practice surfing, and you have a big space. So if done right, you got to give it one small push, right? And then if done right, you just wiggle and it goes. I'll be back in a second as we surf through the warehouse here. Almost hit a rock. Coming back around. Here we go. Taking another lap. So you don't see this on every live quilting feed on YouTube, I don't think. But do make sure you're subscribed. We don't want you to miss a moment of the fun. And this is a tight corner here. Oh, through the black and whites. This is awesome. If you could only see what I could see. And make sure.
Should the dad and me be requesting a helmet on this guy?
Should I? Yeah, right. Here we go. One more time. Okay, everybody. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Thank you for joining us live right here. Stitchin Heaven, Carl's bad version, Island Batik Warehouse, fully hooded, fully helmet. Little armpit hair for you all there. Thank you all for being here. Caleb, thanks for letting me come to your warehouse, buddy. This is awesome. Let me come around here so we're both in the picture. Yeah, awesome, man. Thank you very much. This was great. Oh, we've got a good hair day going. Okay, everybody, we'll see you. Get out there and order. If there's still Batik packs left, get them while you can. We love you. We'll see you next time.